Hey guys, how you all doing? It's Paul. I'm speaking from the official Nexa account today because Twitter, or should I say X, still requires you to use two phones if you don't want to do a Twitter space from the official account. So yeah, if you see the Next logo, that's me speaking. Just waiting for Mlog to join us.
Hey guys, good afternoon. I think I'm a co-host right now, right, Paul? You accepted it? All
Yeah,
right, cool,
yeah, you're in. Hey.
cool. So welcome everybody. Happy to be here again. Was quite some time ago on Twitter Spaces. The past ones were on Telegram, obviously with the Know the Team program that we did. So yeah, today we got myself here alongside Paul. Thank you for your time, Paul, to be here, of course. Um, and yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to come get a chance to come chat with everyone again. Like you say, it's been a little while that we've been on Twitter Spaces, so it's cool to do another one.
Right. Cool. So yeah, maybe we can just share a little agenda for today. Obviously, we released the Q4 roadmap, I believe on Wednesday last week or Tuesday it was, um, and I think it's a good moment to discuss a bit more in depth what we have in mind, on the ideas going forward. And especially about a few of the technology ideas. We will not to go in totally in depth about the technology itself, but rather what you can expect from it. Um, Later on, we will discuss a handful of community questions that have been brought either in the Telegram or Discord chat, or if you're fancy to speak on air, by all means, of course, raise your hand. Um, and that's it for today. So I guess we can kick off, Paul. If you ask me, I think we can start with the most intruding, newest idea that we had decided the last weeks. This is obviously something that you are going to work on, Paul, together with your team, and this is the shadow chain and the DEX that is about to come for Nexa. So maybe you can explain a bit more in depth about your ideas with that and what you think to achieve with it.
Sure. So I think it's worth even taking a step back even further. So because this week it'll either be sometime this week or early next week, we're going to be releasing a big update to NextScript, the smart contract programming language
Right.
For Nexa. And this is something that I described, I think it was a few months ago now, originally called masked contract paths. And what we now call it is multiplex contracts. And what it essentially is normally on UTXO-based systems, cryptocurrency systems, each kind of transaction is itself a little smart contract. But normally these smart contracts are very simple. So, if you're sending money to someone else, it basically says, if you sign with your signature, then you're allowed to send this, these Nexa to someone else, or these Bitcoin or whatever. And this is how every transaction actually works. But with Nexa, you can do a hell of a lot more than that with the smart contracts. The problem is that with the kind of base smart contract language, which we just call raw script, it's quite difficult to do. It's like programming in assembly language for any of you that know a bit about programming out there. So it's like programming almost like the bare metal of the system.
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't scale very well when you start to get more and more complex operations happening. And so obviously this is why we developed NextScript. And what multiplex contracts allows is you can write in a single document a multi-UTXO architecture smart contract. So a smart contract that has multiple UTXOs. Some may be in existence, some may be not in existence yet, and they can all interact with each other. So it enables far more complex interactions than are possible. I mean, you can already do it right now, but without using NextScript, it's incredibly difficult to do. Let's put it like that. So this makes it much, much more easier to build these complex like DeFi functionality. So yeah, like I said, this is going to be released hopefully this week, if not probably early next week. People straight away be able to use that. But we're thinking ahead here, and we're already thinking of the use cases for development, and that's where this kind of new technology stack comes from, which is shadow chains, and then on top of that, built on top of that will be something actually called Foundry now. So what Foundry is an atomic bridge. So you can send tokens or native coins from one chain to another, and it will produce a tokenized version on the other side, atomically, completely trustlessly. There's no intermediary involved. And yeah, it allows kind of cross-chain interoperability, which is a very hard word to say.
Right.
And so that's another foundational bit of infrastructure. And then on top of that, what we plan to build is a cross-chain synced liquidity pool. So this actually comes from a conversation that I can't remember who it was in the community, but they brought up whether whether it's possible to solve the problem of liquidity of tokens on one chain not able to be used on the liquidity pool on another chain. So let's say on Polygon, if you have some swap liquidity pool, you can't use that same liquidity on let's say Ethereum.
Right.
But so this new idea is you have swaps, so something like a constant product market maker like Uniswap or 1inch or Sushi Swap. But instead of it operating just on one chain, and each, if you want to have, let's say if we take Bitcoin Cash as an example, because they also have tokens on there now. Let's say you want to, you set up a liquidity pool on there, it will be synced to a liquidity pool on Nexa, so that both sides of the chain, tokens on both sides of the chain can be used for that liquidity. So yeah, this is like a stack of different technologies. Something I didn't actually detail about shadow chains. So what shadow chains will do is they will allow both. So on a fundamental level, it allows Nexa transactions or smart contracts to have full access to the entire blockchain database of Nexa. And not only will it provide full transactions to full access to the full blockchain of Nexa, but also the full blockchain of Bitcoin Cash, probably be the first one, and then other blockchains that have certain properties that allow them to be interoperable. We haven't actually looked into which chains work with it yet, but I'd imagine there's quite a few.
Right.
So what that means is that you can have something happen, let's say happen on Bitcoin Cash. So let's say some coins or tokens get locked, and at the same time they can be minted or like kind of popped out on the other side, on the Nexa side, and vice versa. So this is what allows this kind of foundry, this minting, perfect atomic minting and destroying of tokens as they cross between the bridge between the two chains. So yeah, this is the stack of technologies. But personally, what I find most interesting, right, as I've been working on these ideas over the last couple of months, is that with the new capabilities in NextScript, especially these multiplex contracts, is that it's getting to a point where you can kind of just start to think of an idea and just build it. Now that may seem very simple, right? But normally using raw script or just UTXO based chains, this is not something you can do. You can't just go, think of an idea and then just implement it. Like it's either impossible or it's incredibly difficult.
And time consuming.
But now it starts to become, yeah, exactly. Right. But now it really starts to become, I wouldn't say easy. I won't go as far as saying easy, but it's like it becomes something that is perfectly possible for programmers to start building on.
Right. Well, that's especially awesome in terms of gathering new developers on board as well, right? Because I mean, obviously you need the right skills, but it's not that you need to be an Einstein to eventually do it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like if everyone had to build everything from raw script, it would be like everyone, how much of the internet would exist if every developer had to write in like machine code? It wouldn't happen, right? It would just be it'd be too much work
Right.
to do that. So having this extra layer of kind of simplicity in between would just will open up developing on Nexa to a hell of a lot more people.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And Paul, I think a good thing. I mean, obviously, this is a very ambitious, plan slash idea that we have here, right? But I think it's good to mention that obviously we are going to trying to work forward to get this all delivered in Q4. But there might be several parts of this whole complex idea in total. So that goes from swap to the atomic bridge to the shadow chains. That there is a possibility, obviously, that not everything like fully fledged will be delivered in Q4, right? I think I also wrote that in the roadmap update itself that although we try to achieve that, but there's certainly a possibility of a few things at least to not be fitting in the time frame that we have for eyes.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I mean, it's the further up that stack you go, the less work has been done on actually understanding exactly how it's going to be built. So at the top of the stack being the synced swap liquidity pools. And they're probably going to be maybe the most complex
Right.
part. So we'll see. But yeah, I have a very good idea now how shadow chains will go together. Got quite a good idea now how the atomic bridge will be put together. So I think those two, I have very high hopes that we'll get that done this year, and it may be that we're kind of in like halfway through development of the sync swap. But obviously, we're going to try and get everything done by the
Right.
end of the year.
Right. Well, you got a good bunch of developers with you, so I'm pretty confident myself. But just wanted to make clear expectations for the community, right? Just so that everybody understands that. First of all, it's also a kind of a new thing that we are like building here. So there's always hurdles that can come up on the way, right?
Yeah. So I mean, you bring up a good point, right? Which is so other chains have something similar technology. So let's say you could take Komodo, which is a chain that kind of is specifically targeting being a chain that is interoperable with other
Right.
chains, so that it can do this bridging functions. The key difference is though, is that first of all, Nexa has never been built to do this. But what Nexa has been built to do is scale massively while still kind of providing a ton of functionality, like smart contract functionality, so that these kind of things can be built in a more general way. And so because of how to put this, because of the way that Komodo, it's just as an example, I'm not like picking on Komodo here, this will be true, Ethereum will probably maybe every other chain that have implemented similar things, is that by doing it the way that they've done it, they have inherently limited their scalability.
Right.
Because they've given transactions access to blockchain data just by kind of directly giving it to them. I'm getting maybe a bit too far into the weeds now. This inherently limits their scalability, but because Nexa has kind of not I guess a bit of a harsh word, but like it's not corrupted itself in terms of scalability to just do it the easy way and just give transactions this access. And because we're doing it like just purely through smart contracts instead of actually natively in the protocol, it means that this does not harm Nexa scalability at all in any way. And it's completely trustless. This doesn't require, protocol upgrade, doesn't require hard fork, soft fork, nothing. Like it can be done right now. We just have to build it with smart contracts. So I think it shows two really powerful things about Nexa, which is already very capable of building very useful decentralized finance services, but also that this commitment to scalability has not stopped us from building like amazing, incredibly useful services. So I think this has been the right approach. It's definitely harder to do it this way than just giving transactions or smart contracts access to any data they want. It adds extra barriers, but in the long term, it's what's going to allow us to have a chain that everyone in the world can use.
Right, and the products on top of that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool, Paul. Thank you for that. I think let's move forward to another subject, right? If you're good by that.
Sure.
I mean, obviously we released Otoplo released the Tokenize app lately, last week or the week before. And there have been some questions in the community, like how can I track the tokens? Which wallet do I? Where am I able to store them? And all these kind of things. So just to give a quick update, right now Otoplo itself is working on implementing the tokens in the wallet, which I think it should take about for a couple of weeks to a month, 1.5 months more, right, Paul, before that's finalized.
Yeah, we're aiming for about a month, something like that.
Right. So, and yeah, next to that, obviously we are working on getting the tokens in the Explorer. SigPick from Bitcoin Unlimited is currently working on that, and I believe that should take a few weeks more too. And on the side of that, for the Qt wallet users, the node users, there's also an integration going on right now, so that you all can receive the tokens within the Qt wallet. For everybody that prefers that, obviously. I personally think that it's most useful to use it just in the Otoplo or in the Tokenize app. Basically, that is the part of it, right? But for the old school users, the Nexa Qt wallet will also be ready for that. So that's update about that.
Can I add just a quick
sure.
little bit of info in there? So also another place to get information about tokens. It's kind of in a bit of a weird format if you're not used to it, but you can also get token information about any token from the token API that we've built as well, that Otoplo built. So that's tokenapi.otoplo.com. Obviously, that API is more aimed at developers, but you actually can use the interface there to do calls to the API.
Right.
And get information for it. We're hoping, obviously, at some point that either we have time to, or some other development team comes along and maybe builds like a dedicated token explorer using the API, which would be great. But the information is there, basically.
Right. Sorry, I forgot about that, but that's totally true indeed. But by the way, I must say I had quite some fun lately. I saw a lot of people already creating some tokens. I mean, obviously they are kind of sort of a useless, more of a fun activity right now. But it's created for developers or for people that really wants to launch a project on top of Nexa, right? But I want to say that it's quite cool that the community is very actively busy with it. I think also Endo, he has the NFT apes and he wanted to align that with some token. So that's very cool to see this activity, and I hope to see a lot more in the future about it as well, right?
Yeah, definitely, and obviously down the line there will be upgrades to Tokenize to provide more features for token developers. So I think that's going to help too. But for now, you've got a simple tool there that people can use to launch tokens right now for basically for free. So.
Right. Well, for free. Let's take it like that. I mean, a few cents is free, right?
I mean, it's like 1,000th of a cent or something. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So yeah, maybe let me check for a second what we have more. I'm just thinking about the hackathon right now, Paul. We talked about it earlier today. I think this is a great incentive that we are going to launch for getting developers on Nexa, and I know by the fact that you've been doing a similar thing in the past. So maybe you can explain a little bit about how we are looking at it right now and what we are thinking to achieve with it, and also a certain sort of timeline that we can provide for that.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, we should say up front that nothing is confirmed right now. We still need to put in a BUIP, a Bitcoin Unlimited improvement proposal to Bitcoin Unlimited for funding, and obviously that needs to get approved first by the BU members until that gets confirmed. But obviously we're discussing ideas around it and making some kind of light plans right now to and timelines around it. So we're thinking sometime in January to host a hackathon, and we'll obviously get people's feedback on it. But that's that gives us enough time to organize from now, and also we're going to try and do it a bit different, a little bit of a different hackathon structure as what normally happens in hackathons, and just to make sure that we kind of guarantee we're getting a certain amount of attendance, and a certain number of projects, and a certain amount of a good quality outcome from each of the projects as well. So I've been discussing ideas around that. And I'm quite excited about it because obviously we've been speaking all year about the fact that we don't want to do things ahead of time. Certain infrastructure isn't there yet, whereas that's changing now. We're actually starting to get some of these tools available, like Tokenize, NetScript, the various wallets. So I think we're starting to get into a position where if we bring developers in, there'll be good documentation, good tools and services for them to build actually really valuable products and services. So even if they're just at the prototype stage, coming out of the actual event, it'll be a good starting point to grow an ecosystem. So me and Martin think that it's like a good time to do this.
Right.
Maybe you can give some comments, Martin.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, obviously, like you said, if you're launching a chain, the first thing you have to do is organizing the infrastructure, right? That comes from wallets to NextScript to Tokenize and all these type of things. And from there on, you can build forward to grow an ecosystem. And like you said, I think it's the right time to do it, given that all these tools are out right now, and there is already quite some activity. For instance, Shomari is doing some building in the community, but obviously the real specific type of projects, ideas, they have to be launched still. And I think with releasing a hackathon and the aligned companion marketing activities that we are going to do.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
We will be able to get a lot of developers on board and hopefully build useful and quality products. The first thing that everybody has to understand is that Nexa is quite different to Ethereum or, for instance, Binance, and unique in its sort, right? And I think the general consensus around the crypto industry is that those are the chains that you can build easy smart contracts and stuff like that. And it's up to us to create a sort of an environment and idea for developers to really understand that it's actually even easier to do it on Nexa, and first and foremost a lot of cheaper with all the other utilities we have on the side of it, like scalability and stuff like that. So I think indeed it's a great time now, and of course it's gonna take quite some time for us to organize a hackathon on the correct way, and that comes from planning to writing the whole program that we're going to use, the ideas and the projects that we would like to see being built, and of course the funding on the side of that. So therefore we are aiming for Q4 to get a structure in this and to develop this whole plan, let's say, and then hopefully, like Paul said, early January, to actively launch the hackathon. But once again, the disclaimer there is that of course we have to align with this with Bitcoin Unlimited too. But yeah, that is something we have to discuss internally. But I have good hopes for that, and I'm confident that these things will work out. And I think this is the key way to attract more developers, because right now we have developers in our community, and people are spreading the word, and we are trying to do some marketing activities to let people know how easy it is to build on top of Nexa. But I think the first and foremost way to actually get a lot of developers with us is to provide them also a sort of incentive, right? To create a new tool or project or whatsoever. And I think a hackathon is drastically helping with that. And by doing so, it will probably also attract developers that are not specifically want to join the hackathon, but they will via these documentation and marketing activities understand hey, oh wow, Nexa is the place to be to build my new idea that I have in mind. And even though I cannot participate in the hackathon, I can build it on the side, right? So I think it has a lot of benefits for us, for the community, for the tools to be used. And I think this is essentially one of the important things to get an ecosystem going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good way to just get people familiar with developing on Nexa as well. And I'm sure there'll be tons of like interesting ideas that come out from it as well. And yeah, we just need more people building now. I think, obviously we're going to, with shadow chains and the atomic bridge, all of this is going to be useful for other builders as well.
Right.
So, hopefully that'll be there as well, ready for them. So yeah, I think we're starting to get to a good position where it's really worth spending resources on pulling in more developers.
Right. No, totally agree. All right, cool. So hey, Paul, just one thing. I mean, we have a lot of topics on our roadmap, but I don't think we're gonna go over it all today. So I'm just trying to pick out a handful of like real important and useful things for the community to understand. Obviously, you've been working with alongside Arsene, if I recall his name correctly, on the scalability.
Correct. Yeah.
Together with Peter Risen. Maybe you can give a little update about that, how the works are going right now. I think that's a very good thing for the community to hear.
Yeah, sure. So basically, the code is running. The kind of unoptimized version of the FPGA code is running on the FPGA development kit. It's getting okay speed, which is kind of what we would expect because it's unoptimized. So this chip is very cheap. It costs, I think, like $25 roughly. So we have some flexibility in getting a larger chip size, but what we're focusing on right now is having the software ready so that anyone can go use it. It'll be open source. The dev kit is easily available from, for example, DigiKey. DigiKey is one of like the main electronic component suppliers globally. So people should be able to get access to this if they want to take part in, testing the software and the FPGA bitstream.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, yeah, and then we'll produce a report. We're getting close to the stage of being like ready to produce a report on the unoptimized version, and then work will start on implementing the basically testing out different architectures for higher, like much more significant optimization in terms of speed or capacity. So that'll be the next stage. And then, so simultaneously, as we improve the optimization, we'll work on actually connecting it to the node. So the software that people will be able to test will do signature validation, but it won't connect to a node. So the node won't actually use it at the moment. There's not really any good reason to at the moment, because the CPU will do kind of, let's say, similar kind of speed. So there would be no reason to with the unoptimized version. But we will start working on in the background, getting that like a software built so that the FPGA can connect directly to the full node software to start to basically offload those high, like the parts of the software that actually have a significant requirement for compute, basically the arithmetic functions that are used in cryptography.
Right.
So yeah, that's the next steps for the project. Like I said, so the next thing that the kind of community will see is the report that we produce and the open source software bitstream that people can use with the dev kit.
That's very cool. So basically, we're gonna involve the community in the testing of the scalability of Nexa, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, if people want to get involved, I think the dev kit costs about $260, which may sound a lot to some people, but actually for an FPGA development kit, it's actually it's a very good price for it.
Right.
So yeah, so people are welcome to get involved in that. And and once you've got the dev kit, obviously it can be used as we provide more optimized versions of the
Right.
software.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Paul. So yeah, I think I'm still trying to get all three of you on on the call someday to have a sort of an AMA about it, but it's quite a hell of a job because all of you guys are living in a total different time zone. So to find a
Yeah, I think we're all exactly 8 hours
right,
apart.
right. So to
Yeah.
find a good solution for that, it's kind of hard for now, but yeah, guys, I'm still working on that, and be assured that I will get both. I mean, all three, Paul and Peter Risen and Arsene on a call together to have a more in-depth talk about the scalability, and especially for everybody to hear from Peter because obviously he's the mastermind behind it. But yeah, once again, it's
I mean, honestly, yeah, you just need to hear from Peter and Arsene because my knowledge of FPGA development is not, yeah, not even at 1% of theirs.
right,
So
right.
they're the ones that really know what they're talking about when it comes to this project for sure.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm trying my best to get that done for the community. I think it's quite a technical sort of call it will be. So hopefully, but Peter is very good in explaining in public in things in layman's words. So I think it wouldn't be a big of a problem, but I think it will be good for everybody to hear Balf speak more in depth about the scalability things that we are developing right now. So yeah, I think 33 minutes already. What do you think about opening the floor a little bit, Paul? Not sure if any.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can take some questions.
Not sure if anybody has questions that want to speak live on air. Then, if you have, then make sure to raise your hand. Meanwhile, I will have a read in the chat if there's anything to answer. There was one question from Shamari, by the way, Paul, about the instant transaction service.
Oh yeah, sure. So basically, I've put work on that on pause for now. The main reason being is that personally, I think it's more important that we build up an ecosystem right now, so that we have more users there, we have more use cases there. Whereas the instant transaction service is going to be more useful for people and probably more revenue generating, to be honest, once there is an actual ecosystem and more people actually sending, payments and transactions. So that work is basically on pause while we focus on developing, the stack of technologies needed to produce a cross-chain DEX and swap.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think that's a good strategy, honestly. Like, I mean, how often the instant transaction service will be used right now, right? And I think an ecosystem with specific tools and projects is much more of a value at this given point. And the bridge that you're building, the atomic swap and all these type of things has a lot of more value. So I think it's a very good strategy that you took here. I just see another question from Gino, by the way. If you need to be experienced to participate in the testing the scalability on Nexa with the FPGAs kit that you just talked about. I mean, I think
I would say, I'd say like initially for this stage of the project, yes, you need like some knowledge probably of how to run software. Like the current software, as opposed to the actual bitstream, the software is just Python.
right.
And yeah, so and then you have to. I'm not sure if you actually need knowledge of how to run Verilog software to run the bitstream and the FPGA. I'm not actually sure, but I would just say in general, like it's going to be, you're going to probably need some technical knowledge
Right.
at this stage. But obviously, at a certain point, you just plug in a device into your computer or laptop, and then run the full node software.
Right, that makes sense. Thank you, Gino, for the question. Checking if there is anything else right now. Nobody put up their hand, right, to speak live on air. Don't be shy, guys. If you have any questions, then feel free to chime in, obviously. maybe I can speak a little bit about the marketing side of things. Meanwhile, I'm reading through the chats if there is more questions. So there is quite some things that I haven't played for us. I'm just like, honestly, I'm just trying to time a little bit the moment of releasing all these things. To give you a little bit of background, like we have, sealed a handful of partnerships, like 2 coming like on a shorter term. These are officially done, just not yet integrated. So there is some work on the developer side on their end to get Nexa integrated. There is an actually there is an there's kind of an how you say that, like a new milestone for Nexa, because we're going to be integrated as Nexa as a currency into a new business. So that means just like a local business that's going to accept Nexa as a payment, which I think it's pretty cool. I'm not sure, in all fairness, how much it's going to be used, but I think that's very nice to have that as a first one. It's a business related to I believe they're selling like dentist products and stuff like that. So it's quite a cool concept. It's also a new business, but trying to be innovative. And yeah, we got asked if we are happy to have an integration with Nexa there, and so far all good. Nexa is there on the test environment. It's working perfectly. So they are now moving it to the sort of the mainnet website environment, and there we can do payments with Nexa. So it's the first merchandise that is going to integrate us, which for me is a pretty significant and cool milestone for all of us. And I hope a lot of more businesses will follow, obviously. On the on the other side of partnerships, we have a few things going now. I think in about 2 or 3 weeks we will announce more about a few wallet integrations, 2 in total actually. One is currently integrated. The other one I'm in deep talks right now, and I'm pretty confident that this will be done too. So there's that on that side. Obviously, we're gonna drop some more specific things. I'm working on a pitch deck, which is already nearly done. I would say I just have to add a few more details in that, and some updates from, for instance, NextCrypt and Tokenize and all these things that we released lately. Yeah, of course, we are looking at the thing that everybody wants to hear, mostly at new exchanges. And also there, I got some really great offers currently at table. I cannot disclose anything too much. Obviously, we will have to do a little crowdfund for that to achieve the to achieve that we getting listed there. As mentioned in, I want to be very clear on this. As mentioned in the roadmap, we are aiming for mid-tier exchanges right now. Very simple. I spoke with all the others, and it's kind of hard to get Nexa integrated there simply because we are growing organically. From a few, you would barely believe it, but from a few, the answers on if they would like to integrate Nexa was very simple. We didn't have enough impressions on, let's say, engagement on some Twitter posts, and they expected that to be higher. And yeah, usually that is, with the most shit coins that are getting listed on these exchanges, that is by bots and all these type of things. And we never went that way. So for us, it's taking a little longer time. But the things that I haven't played right now for us, I think in the coming weeks we will release more information about that. They're pretty cool, respectable exchanges. So, but yeah, once again, they're mid-tiers, guys. Don't expect like we're gonna be listed on Binance next week. It's not gonna happen. But it will be a great step forward. I see another question about the white paper. Yeah, so we are initially I was working on a very long, detailed white paper, but I figured it's much easier to have a comprehensive white paper, worth like with all the specific details about the technology, with references to the documentation that we already have, right? So what we initially said about releasing a white paper is that we don't want to make promises on paper that we still have to fulfill, but we rather fulfill the promise and then put it on paper. And I think we are sort of getting to that stage that we are able to get these promises on paper. For instance, like the native tokens, the Next script, the smart contracts, and all that. So I think it will be a more comprehensive white paper than 100 pages, let's say. But yeah, we are working on that, and I have it ready, or we will have it ready certainly somewhere here in Q4. Obviously, we need Paul and the other guys from the tech side to have a good read on that to see if everything fits the wordings. But yeah, it's definitely coming quite soon. I don't know if you have anything to add.
I should also add
Paul.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, Peter also has a white paper, really impressive white paper that is not publicly released yet. I think he's waiting for like the right moment in terms of having the actual hardware ready for it. But basically, the white paper is discussing his concept for the UTXO accelerated UTXO lookups.
Right.
And having read it myself, it's honestly brilliant. The concept is quite astounding, and yeah. So this is one part of Nexa's scaling plan that we're already putting into action. But he has already written up a white paper for this plan, but we're not at a point yet where we think, like Martin said, we want to actually have things ready and proven before we actually release white papers with kind of promises, because I think at least for me personally, it's easy to just kind of say things, and it's difficult for people to know what is people just saying things and what is actually real. And so you can't argue that it isn't real if it really exists. So then it's like the perfect way of proving that the white paper, actually discusses something that is real, is by actually having a real thing there.
Right. I fully agree on that, and I think this is also. I mean, a lot of people are asking always about a white paper, and sometimes I wonder actually how often it's actually been read, and how often the team has been hold on to the white paper, right? Because like on the way, there's a lot of things that can change. There is a strategy that can change. There is the team that can change even, because usually the team is also written in the right white paper, right? So like Paul said, I think it's better to deliver and then sort of work it out on the paper rather than to promise and then later figure out how you're going to do it.
Yeah. Also, I'd point out is we understand that it's somewhat of like a box ticking thing that we need to do, but I would point out that having read quite a few white papers, many of them contain things that are just complete nonsense.
Right.
They're just like not true on a technical level. So just because a white paper exists and it says something, it doesn't mean that that's somehow like a scientifically proven paper with evidence behind it or something like this. It's easy to write some words down and just say that something is true. It's much more difficult to actually build the thing and show that it's
right. But yeah, we have it for sure on the roadmap on our agenda to get it done. So yeah, you can expect that sometime in the near future. But yeah, once again, first we actually deliver, and then we would like to to give the background on that in a white paper, let's say. I didn't see much more questions actually. Either we have been very clear, or there is not a lot of demand today. It could be both. I'm not sure. So I think we can wrap up, Paul.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, we covered obviously quite a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. So yeah, guys, a lot of things you can expect real soon. I mean, once again, the Q4 roadmap was quite, I would say, a little aggressive, but I think all doable. So there's a lot of technology development coming. There's a lot of marketing activities coming. There's a lot of other stuff that we will release. Even some ideas we didn't put in a roadmap, but that we do have in mind. But that we just are working out still in sense of how we're going to deliver that to the community on both technology and the marketing side. So yeah, once again, there's a lot of stuff to come, and I hope you all are as excited for it as I am myself, and I'm sure I'm speaking for Paul too when I say that.
absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Really, we'd like to thank you all for joining. Once again, been a good fun, good chat. So I appreciate that a lot, and hopefully to have you around next time again. I'm sure you have a last word, Paul, but go ahead, of course.
Yeah. Thanks for listening along, everyone. And as always, we appreciate your support and anything that you can do to spread the word about Nexa or get involved in building on Nexa is obviously hugely appreciated. Like we need more and more people getting involved to make this project a success. So we appreciate any help in that regard.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So thank
All
you
right,
for today.
take care, guys.
Take care, yeah.